Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Talking Tradesman. In the studio with me today, I have Joe Mallalieu. Get that right?
Yep, perfect,
Fantastic. Coming at me with the difficult surnames here. Joe has got a very unique story. He's on a very unique journey, which is very interesting to me when I spoke to Joe pre-record a few weeks ago via phone call. He's got a really interesting project, and we're going to talk all about that. If we can do, Joe, if you can tell me or tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, where you come from, where you started, and then we'll get into everything that you've got going on.
Yeah, man. So I am from Stockport. My dad and my granddad are plasterers, and I was I kind of didn't want to follow it, but
Ended up there.
yeah, I didn't do great.
You know, we're meant to be like mortal enemies, don't you? Decorators and plasterers over here.
Bad, mate. They all hate us. Sparkies, joiners, everyone hates the plasterers. But yeah, so I left school, and I wanted to go into. So I did. So I got kicked out of school at like 15 for just being an idiot, and then only for a bit though. And then I got kicked out again for a little bit. But in between it, my form tutor was letting me do plays.
Okay.
And she was like, Joe, if you spent as much time trying to act as you do acting a clown, I think you could be quite good at it. And then she put me into a school play. But I was still wearing, I was tracksuits. And
Yeah.
that was like, it was a bit of an intimidating thing for me to do it.
Like Stockport's it's a tough place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
And I was helping my dad out from a young age, and my dad was a fighter. Not so much now. He's 50 plus, but he was a fighting man. And my granddad Jimmy was a fighting man, so it was kind of, they were known for doing it.
Yeah.
And on the way to work, Dad getting out of the van, I just got used to it.
Yeah.
I was like, you just kind of sit there and think, oh fuck it, we're gonna be late here.
The norm.
Yeah. And then my dad would tell stories about my granddad doing it, and it was like funny stories. So I kind of was very much, all right, okay. And then when I got to do my first fight, I was like, oh fuck, I just had a fight, and ran home and said, Dad, I just had a fight with someone. And he was like, he didn't say well done or anything, but he was like, I felt kind of like.
I remember, Joe, to be fair, similar-ish kind of backgrounds growing up. Didn't go to I went to the roughest school in town and all that kind of thing. And I remember the same thing. First ever fight I got in, going home and telling my dad and being a bit like, I'm not in trouble here because, it was at school and all that. But it was a rough school, so they weren't too harsh on fighting.
Yeah.
But going in and being like, Dad, got in a fight today. And all he said, was, did you win?
Yeah.
That was it. It was not like, why? Or, oh, for God's sake, or nothing like that. Did you win?
Yeah.
Good lad.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Is your old man still about? Do you still?
Yeah, he's still about. Yeah.
What is he like about? Is he kind of like, now that you're doing this sort of stuff, does he admit how he was? Do you know what I mean? Or would he admit to being like...
Weirdly, Joe, he wasn't actually, my old man wasn't massively confrontational.
Right.
He was kind of like, best way I can do, old school, the old school morals, old school, but he wasn't a fighter as such. He wouldn't back down, but he wasn't somebody that went looking for anything. He wasn't, anyone with a reputation, nothing like that.
Right.
But it was just, again, it was how I was raised, that whole like, don't take any crap from anyone, all that kind of stuff.
I think the thing that's hard is it's so interesting. Like, there's sensible men. There were sensible teachers.
Yeah.
And my mates, some of them had sensible fathers. But everyone wanted to talk to them. Like, everyone was like, did your dad do? And it was like, that's the hard thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because...
it's glorified in our culture.
Yeah.
You look at the movies we watch, you look at a lot of like a particularly British traditional, like, I don't know, like your Green Street, Rise of the Foot Soldiers, all these kind of stuff. It's all glorifying fighting. It's all glorifying violence.
Yeah.
But
then there's a fine line between, I'm glad I'm not like a bitch. I wouldn't want someone to be. I'm glad I can look after myself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm trying to like growing. You're trying to not be. Do you know what I mean? You think,
mate.
yeah,
I
and
know
also
exactly
like
what you mean.
I'm trying to do acting, man. You can't just be. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine like getting your first?
I think
proper decent thing.
I've used this analogy on a few times, and like when you go through life, you can only deal with a situation with the tools that you've got.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've only been given a certain amount of tools by your upbringing, that's how you get react. And I was the same when I was younger. You'd fight fire with fire, aggression with aggression.
Yeah.
Dog eat dog.
Yeah.
And then the older I've got, you do start to go, well, maybe you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just walk away, mate, all that kind of thing.
Making that masculine as well, eh? Like, I think if you can I'm not a dad yet. I know you said you've been a dad for fucking ages, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like,
make me feel proper old now, Joe. Hey? Just rub that one in. Let's pause there quickly to thank our headline sponsors, Zinza. And in particular, take a moment to talk about their incredible product, Zinza Bin Aqua. Zinza Bin Aqua is a water-based primer, sealer, stain killer and odour blocker all in one. It has trace VOCs. You can use this product inside and outside and it will block knots, sap streaks, water, mould stains and more. We've used Zinza Bin Aqua in our business on many occasions and it has never let us down. With that in mind, let's get back to the episode.
But it's like, there was so many chances, I was nearly a dad many a time sort of thing. I got out of plenty and...
More luck than judgment then.
Yeah. And the lessons that I would have given even 3 years ago are so different now to what I think it's just making it public, like how to celebrate masculinity and still be authoritative and still have all those things, but it doesn't have to be with straight away. Like there's different ways of doing it.
Mate, it's such a huge subject at the moment. I don't even know what the answer is, but masculinity has been so vilified and it is almost like a point of having to redefine it.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to be masculine now?
Yeah, and how to celebrate it and stuff like that. Yeah, there's definitely ways of doing it. I think it's we're starting to get onto the right page now. I think identifying toxic masculinity was a big thing. Like, you can't say it didn't exist. Like, there was parts of masculinity that was toxic. I think.
Toxic traits. I think. Yeah. The problem is, the issue I have with that phrase, toxic masculinity, and I use it myself, but the issue I have with it is it's I'm going to upset people now, but it's only ever said about masculinity.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think, does toxic femininity exist?
For sure.
But does it, in terms of,
it's not
in culture? I mean, yes, it does exist, but it's not labelled.
No.
Yeah. And this is the problem with the phrase toxic masculinity. It's attaching male traits to that word toxic.
Mm-hmm.
You can be very masculine, an alpha male, and not be toxic.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
But the problem is, it's like all masculinity seems to have been lumped into that category of toxic.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
I completely agree. So, what my play is about is kind of the character Danny, who I'm playing throughout it, has been brought up with a certain set of rules, like what you just said before. It's like he doesn't know any different, and I don't think these lads are to blame for that. It's like believing in Father Christmas because everyone tells you he's right. No one's like second guessing it. It's like there's a guy that comes down the chimney, and you're like, all right, sound. Like, he gets told that fight as soon as it comes. If anyone even fucking looks at you, don't let that happen. And if any woman walks past you and she fancies it, then fucking jump on it. Do you know, like that's a world, that's a realistic world. And I think in my trade, my upbringing, my granddad will tell you the funniest stories about jumping out of men's windows. Like, when he was alive, man, he used to have us in stitches, and we'd all sit round on the sites and just listen to him telling these stories that you think that can't be fucking real. Like, it's so funny. But now me trying to like grow and trying to be open emotionally and trying to talk to people about redefining and taking back masculinity and stuff, there are parts of that story and that kind of you know, that the way he was talking about it, you think,
now looking back, it feels different.
you just like, surely masculinity, if we're going to redefine it, it's about doing the hard thing. Like, I think the hard choice and not that instant gratification that we're all, that you get through drugs, that you get through straight away whacking him, or the girl that winks at you. If they're great, and like, I've done, you know what I mean? It's hard to say no to it all, but I think masculinity can start being shaped when you say you're going to make a choice. You're going to dedicate yourself to whatever it is you're going to dedicate yourself to, whether it's not taking that, when it's taking the high road, or whether it's saying to someone, listen, I'm flattered, but you know, I'm shacked up with someone. The stories that I was told, that only because we were talking about toxic masculinity and stuff, like, I agree. I think it's been dragged, masculinity has been dragged through the mud, but wouldn't it be great, I think, if we could say, like, if we can start telling them stories without it being, and I did this, and I didn't. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a good way to aim. That's for me. That'd be. I mean, it's hard. It's always going to be hard to not do that.
It's mate. It's generations and culture that, but I think it's fading out. Do you know what, Joe? We're touching on and we're alluding to a couple of things. Let's just get it out there as to what you've done. Yes. So obviously, Joe, plasterer by trade.
Yes.
Family business.
Yeah, third generation.
However, now you are about to go on tour with your own written and produced.
Yeah, not produced. No, I've got an amazing producer.
Written.
Yeah, written myself.
Do you know what, Joe? You say it because you'll get it right.
Yeah. So basically, I grew up in the building trade since, you know, when you start helping your dad out at 14, 15 and stuff, I went straight into it, but was missing acting and started doing night classes, and then got a scholarship to an acting school in London, which was just like the craziest.
That's massive, mate.
World change, because you're going from like, you just had your finger chopped off and you're like, you're all right, like, I'm fine.
Bit of masking tape.
Yeah, exactly. Like, get on with it. To being in an acting school and people being like, how are you feeling? And you're like, I'm fine. And they're like, no, but how are you feeling? And it was such just a crazy culture shock. Like, and people starting to talk about things. And I was very aware. I mean, class is a huge thing in acting schools. Like, there's not many working class people coming from them, because it was a £50,000 scholarship that I got. So that's 3 years. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot of money. But the experiences I had to draw on from the acting, from the building trade, really, really served me in like backstories and like pulling on emotion and stuff like that. And then, you know, I've been acting like I'm a jobbing actor. I've been doing bits on TV, but I'm always coming back to the building trade. And then in lockdown, I lost one of my best mates and just couldn't comprehend it. Me and him were thick as thieves. You know, we used to get into trouble together. We were always covering each other's backs. And, you know, I guess I'd kind of been going on a different journey with my acting, and I was, but he was still one of my boys, and I couldn't comprehend it. So I started writing, which is
just to clarify on it, mate. When you say you lost one of your friends, did he?
Yeah, he took his life.
Own life.
Yeah,
right.
he took his life.
Okay.
And I could. So another, like, something that I will say for anyone that is struggling, writing stuff down for me was just because I didn't want to talk, and I didn't want to talk to anyone, but I knew it couldn't sit in me. So I started writing. I tell anyone that'll listen to it that if you're feeling something, you know, talking to people is a big deal, and it's hard, and sometimes you're not ready for it, and that's all completely cool. But if you can just get a pen and paper and just write it down and say like, oh, I'm struggling, and it can be as in depth or just, you don't even have to talk about that thing. You can write about something else. But I've done that throughout, like I've done that forever, and I can look back at these things and see what I've been going through and see that I'm really struggling with something, or, oh God, that was hard then. So anyway, Dylan, my mate, took his life, and
I'm sorry to hear that, mate.
Yeah, man, it was shit. He had a lot of stuff going on, man, and he never spoke.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a clue. Like, we knew that he must have been struggling because he had stuff going on in his life. And, we were partying and everything else. And
masking.
Yeah, but he never spoke to me. And then you look back and you think, was that him speaking to me? Was that him? Was he trying to... do you know what I mean?
You can't.
No,
Joe,
of course not.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Sitting here and being privileged enough to host people's stories, it's something I've heard so many times now. And there's always that element of, should I have seen? Yeah. Should I have known?
Yeah.
But you can't.
No.
You don't. And the reality is, we're all living such busy lives. Maybe there were signs, but it's not your responsibility to find them.
Yeah.
Great if you do, but you can't catch something you don't know is falling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just tragic. It's tragic for everybody involved. It's tragic for loved ones. It's tragic for the person that loses their life. It's just a horrible, horrible situation.
Yeah. So yeah, I started. I mean, I didn't even know I was depressed. That's the thing, eh? Like, I just stopped training. I was just in bed. I'm in my girlfriend's house, and she was just like, I was just like, I just can't be. But I started writing. I guess the play comes from me wanting to understand why. I was grief-stricken, and I couldn't comprehend why my best mate had killed himself. So I started writing it, but I didn't want to write it like about him. I wanted to make it personal, so I took it into the building. Like, I took it into the people I know. And I guess the question that I asked myself when I started writing it was, why do working class men specifically find it so hard to talk about struggling? And then I wrote it from a perspective of a lad very similar to my upbringing, but without me trying to not wake up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, me taking steps and trying to do the right thing, and not still going down the easy sort of.
Let's pause there a moment to thank this episode's sponsors, Q1. Q1 are a premium masking solution. They offer the ultimate choice for professionals that demand perfection. Whatever you're painting, Q1 tapes deliver clean, sharp lines every time. Q1 tapes are designed for superior adhesion and easy removal, leaving no residue behind. We use Q1 tapes in our business all the time, on every job. In addition to the painter's tapes, Q1 offer a range of surface protection technology, solutions and accessories. You can cover things like worktops, hard floor and kitchen units with a range of Q1 protections. Using Q1, your projects are going to look professional and the results will speak for themselves. Q1 is available at all of your favourite stores and online at q1tapes.com. Thank you to Q1 for supporting the Talking Tradesman podcast and helping us raise mental health awareness in the industry. Let's get back to the episode.
Danny, the character that I've written, he's lived the life of Riley. He's lived, he's hard, he's got girls, and he doesn't, for the first time in his life, he's looking at everything that used to be told funny stories. It's like, and it's not quite as funny. It's not sitting quite right. And it's kind of the play is him, I suppose, unraveling a little bit for the first time in his life because he's never looked at it. But now he's got to. He's got to look at it. He's got to give this speech. It's like he's never given a speech before, and he's got to give a speech. And he's practicing things. He's telling funny stories to give it, and they're just falling flat. So the audience will coming to the building site, it'll feel very much like he's got to go to a job and he's got to finish plastering a wall. So he comes onto the job and it's not been finished. So he's got to rush and he's just I'll plaster the wall and I'll practice this speech. And that's kind of the basis of the play. But it's just him looking at things for the first time. And I think, I've been in the trade since I was a kid, man. Do you know what I mean? Like young.
I do.
Yeah,
I do, mate.
You do. Yeah. And I still love hearing stories. Like, even though I'm thinking, oh, you muppet. Like, there's still a part of me that's like, you did what? Like, it's hard. It's hard not to kind of be in awe of some of them tales.
So it's how, mate, it's how we've been raised.
Yeah.
It's how you can't delete that.
No.
That's the thing. I think, there's a good example. Like, if you look at TV programs, there's a lot of TV programs out there that were funny as hell. One of the classics, Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious. But a lot of the stuff that they did then, you couldn't produce or write now.
No, man.
No. But it doesn't discredit what it was at that time, is how I see it.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
like, at the time it was okay, at the time it was right, we'll leave that there.
Yeah.
But we can progress moving forward.
Yeah, 100%.
But that don't mean that you look back at it and you go, oh, that was terrible.
No.
But no, it was funny.
Yeah, of course, it's still funny.
Exactly.
There's still, like, good comedy for me. Only Fools and Horses. It's classic.
Absolute
it's never
classic,
gonna...
mate.
Like, there's good TV that's like, the way to set up, the way things are written makes it great.
Those days, I think, are gone, mate, sadly. I can't see any kind of sitcom coming along that is on that level. And maybe that is because, I don't want to go off on this tangent, but maybe that is because of the height of political awareness. Now, I think everyone's too scared to offend, scared to say the wrong thing and be cancelled.
Yeah.
There's that fear now of anyone in the public eye, and you can't blame them.
No.
Because you see how the press go for them if they do get anything a bit out of
But I think
of line.
that's why TV not shit. I think, like, so I've got eyes for this becoming more. Like, there's different mediums. I've had meetings with is there another way to do this? And the thing is if, how do you say it? Like, the way people speak is the way people speak.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of TV it's hard to write from a working class perspective because there is stuff that my dad will say and your dad will say that you wouldn't say on a podcast. You know what I mean? Or like, you wouldn't say, but for me, it's said, and it's set, and in the building trade, Jesus Christ, I was working last week, and the stuff people are saying, like, as me who's got 1 foot, you're thinking like,
it's hard, mate, because listen, 99% of people listening to this are going to be in the trade, so it's just going to be water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
But when you cross those demographics, and like, it would be common as anything to go on a building site and hear somebody go, "You dickhead."
Yeah.
Common as any. Nobody bat an eyelid.
No.
You try doing that in an office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like...
that's another thing, innit? Like, the trade, for all its, the tools now. My granddad, if he turned in his graves, if he could see how easy it is for us to, some of the tools we've got to make it easy to skim a ceiling now, or for K-Rend, we're just spraying it on with a big gun, like, and yet the hard stuff is still hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can sit there and, like, you're sanding and you're spraying paint on and stuff, but there's still that stereo. There's still that kind of I don't know. I think sometimes we think it's a manly thing or a masculine thing, or I don't know, like to leave them to it. Just and there is something in that. Like, just let a man be down and let he's feeling it. Just fucking give him a fair. I agree with that to an extent, but I think we're also at a point now where we need to bring the trade a little bit. Like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it,
mate. It's blatantly obvious that we need to. We're in the UK now. The construction industry is the worst industry in the UK for male suicide. Yeah, the worst. Yeah. So it's obvious something's got to change. Like, we are lagging behind somewhere. Yeah. Something has got to change. Yeah. That not only is it the worst industry in the UK, the trajectory, if you look at the last 20 years, has been on the up. and it's still on the up.
Yeah.
It's still rising.
Yeah, I can believe
there's
it,
more
man.
and more people talking about it.
Yeah,
but there's no real change.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think for me personally, like my experience of lads my age knocking up drugs in the building trade.
Yeah, huge.
Oh man,
yeah.
Like the amount, like, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen in offices. Obviously, it does, and like those big successful offices, like in London now. You know what I mean? Like, those boys are smashing it. Like, I'm sure.
Joe, I'll be honest with you, mate. I think one of the biggest things one of the biggest sort of like hidden secrets when you make adulthood is how many people do coke.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
It's just.
But I think from a working class perspective, and this is what I think a lot of outsiders, again, just speaking on my own past, is the way we're introduced to it. I think, when I went to acting school, everyone's like, done a bit of cocaine and it's quite fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they're all 20 and stuff. And like, I was seeing it at 13. Like the lads there was lads getting like in serious trouble at 14 years old, getting drug dealers coming to the school, like getting kettle, like the stuff that was happening when I was. And I think when you're coming downstairs and there's lines on a table in your parents' house, or you're seeing your dad and his mates scratching at whatever time, for me, it's like you see, it is glamorous and it is fun, and when it's creative and everyone's doing it, but it's desperate. If you're a labourer now, what's a labourer on? Wait, 70 quid, 80 quid a day?
80 to 100, depending where they are, what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're maybe not even that sometimes. Like if it's cash, and that's, they're getting a gram for 50 quid or so. You know what I mean? It's dark, man. It's fucking dark.
I think what you were touching on there is, depending on the class and the environment, it's the difference between a novelty and a way of life.
Yeah.
It's the novelty of like, oh, I did a bit, or that's life.
Yeah, but it's also like, if you're earning a decent crumpet, what's 2 bags? What's whatever? What's 3.5? You know what I mean? It don't make a big difference. But if you're like, I know so many boys that are getting paid 150, they're coming out with 150 after sort of thing, and they owe most of that out by Friday.
Yeah.
And then they get it on tick for Saturday. And then on Sunday, you know what I mean? You're back in, like, that for me is where it sits. That I think the statistics there, like, when you're just trying to claw your way out of it and you're struggling to see it because you think, I can't seem to get out of this thing.
I think the problem is as well, though, Joe, is when you're far from the only one. You're part of the club. Everyone's doing it. There's not enough people stood back going, hang on a minute, mate. You don't let's have a chat.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what? It's because it's everybody.
Yeah.
Or not everyone. That's wrong. There's a culture.
Yeah.
Around drink and drugs. In the construction industry, and there'll be people that will be pissed off at me for saying that, but it's true.
Oh man! If they're not, then they're not they're not living with their eyes open in the building.
Even if it's not as high as the drugs, there's still that huge culture of like every day after work, right? Pub.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I come from that generation of, there was a lot more cash going around at the time, and most lads that worked for anyone would get paid in the pub every Friday. It was literally weighed out cash in the corner. I've just got my wages.
Little envelope with your name on when you were a kid.
Half of it would go straight in the bandit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It was my dad used to give us world.
My dad used to give us 3 £50 notes when I was a kid. It's like, what'd you do with them? I mean, you go and getting sweets with a £50 note. It looked like it's. And then you've got your mates. Like, that part of that thing that you're saying there is, Dylan, who we lost, I got my 40 boys, who we were same football team since we were 5 years old. And he got fostered into one of them to Sam's family at probably 12, 13. And me football lads have never done it.
Yeah.
We drink. We like a drink, but they're not we kind of hold each other accountable, which you don't realise how privileged you are if you've got boys that say, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, why are you kicking off?" Like the problem is fuck, everyone's an MMA fighter now, and everyone's like got something to. It's been that way forever. I know that, but the building trade suffers for it the most. That we've got that, like, he just said something to you. What did he say? But it's like, what does it fucking matter?
Yeah.
Just like, and if you've got a group of friends, that's what I was saying. Dill had us, but he also had another group, and they were knocking it and they were smashing it, and he'd come and hang around with us, and we'd hold him accountable for stuff. And sometimes that's tough love, and that's being like, "Oh, mate, you man, you know what I mean? You can't be doing. Do you like her or not?
Yeah.
Well, stop doing that sort of. Do you know what I mean?" And then he started knocking around. He started leaning more on the other lot because it was probably easier. My dad said something to me mate, 2 nights. He was telling me how happy he was that I was doing this and how proud he was of me for doing it. And we start talking about shit, like what it was like for him. And he said, I've not really got mates that don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, and for us, I feel like we're still young enough, or we're around circles that you can be like, "You's lot of making this so hard for me not to do it." Like, how am I supposed? You're in the trade. Monday, you're rough. You might do half day, and then Friday, everyone's got one, and everyone's at it, sort of thing. It's so hard to separate yourself from that, I feel. And
I
my
think
dad's
you're right, mate.
yeah,
I
my
think
dad's
you're right.
55.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he's like, if I don't want to go out drinking, I don't have mates to ring, and that breaks my heart. It's like, that's my old man. And he said that all the mates that he's got now are drink. Like, they're all drinkers, or they're all still acting like they, still putting it away. And it's hard to make new friends. Do you know what I mean? That sounds fucking weird, but
Joe, it is.
It is. It's like, imagine doing it now.
Yeah,
like,
it's
how
different
do you do
worlds,
it?
mate. It's different worlds. It really is. I've seen it, funnily enough, with my lad as well recently. Like, he says the same. So how do you just? Because he's I'll bore you with his story, but he moved out of his mum's that was in Devon and has moved in with me. So he's had to make a new friendship circle.
Right. At what age?
So he moved out when he was 15. He'll be 18 in a week and a half's time. In fact, by the time this comes out, he'll be 18.
Really?
But yeah, but he's had that whole, meeting it. And I always said the same, like it's easy. We'll just go make some mates.
Yeah.
It's like, Dad, it ain't like that. You know what I mean?
I believe it. It's not, because now it's all, I mean, gone are the days, right? That you just go out and do that. Certainly speaking to girls, I never even went. I don't know when the last time I went out and tried to make
People don't meet
friends.
people out anymore.
I guess sport.
Sport's a great one. Yeah. Sport's still there. That's still a good one. But like, you talk about dating or meeting girls, you don't do that out anymore.
No.
Like, if you approach somebody, you probably get
think you're a creep.
You know what I mean? You get maced these days. You'll be banged up before you know it. It's all online, mate, isn't it? But for, like you said, your dad's generation, my dad's generation, it's that. It sounds horrible, doesn't it? But they ain't gonna change.
No.
Like, it's you can't imagine. I mean, it was one of the questions I was going to ask you, Joe. To be honest, was you've made such like acting and performing and being a plasterer. To me, is like, it's chalk and cheese.
Oh yeah.
Not only is it chalk and cheese, it's two different worlds. And like you've touched on with the acting school and the people that you mix with in that life, it's so different.
Yeah.
How was it received by, like, your group, your people?
So
when you started going into it,
so like what I did. So when you're writing, the Royal Exchange in Manchester let me use the space, and we did like a performative. Like we did a performance, but script in hand. So I wrote it. We worked on it with the director, and then sometimes you invite other writers, sometimes you invite like people that are kind of to do with the industry. I just invited builders. And I mean, it's scary because, fuck that, mate, I'd rather perform in front of like 100 other actors than 5 builders. Because it's like, because they're my boys. Do you know what I mean? That is a part of me. And I'm still a bit like, well, I'm not fucking... But the message that I was trying to do and what I thought was important kind of got me there. And they come and watch me. Some of them still in the work gear, most of them in tracksuits. And they come and watched it. And the conversations we had in the pub
after,
oh, brother.
Yeah.
Like, some of it went into the play verbatim. We put it straight into the play, like things that they spoke to me about addiction, about feeling isolated, about feeling that they didn't have a choice. Just went straight into it. Sometimes it's hard because, you know, if I get an acting gig, I'll be on TV and the money is loads better. Mate, I was on Coronation Street for about a minute. Do you know what I mean? Like I was a baddie in it. And selling drugs, and then I got killed. It's not too far from how it used to be. Like, and then we went. I went from working with everyone going, "Oh fuck hell, he's on the TV," and then I was skinned. I was only on it for a month or so, and then you're off it, and I'm like, "Gives a job." Do you know what I mean? Like, I think what actors don't understand what it's like for the building trade, like just the graft of it, like the monotonous same daily. Again. Here we go. Like, that's. I know that I'll never stop. I'll never stop trying. I'll never stop getting to where I want to go with my acting. Like that. This is it for me.
To be fair though, mate, you take that work ethic that you've been born into and take that and translate that into that.
Yeah,
you've got a massive advantage.
That 100, and I feel that. I feel like you talking about your podcast, like you start here and you work how you know to work. And that's just, you know, I stare at a big ceiling and feel sorry for me. Who's going to do it? You get it done, get mixing. You know, that there's a way, like when I've been writing this, it's taken me years since lockdown to now is like, you know, this is the first time I'm taking it on tour. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you've worked really hard here, but how else do you work?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What else are you going to do? Like,
I resonate with a lot of what you're saying, mate. I think they're very similar in a lot of ways. And it is something because you can't hide in the trades, can you?
No.
You can try, but you get fucking found out real quick.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So your only option is go.
Yeah.
It's, you know, everyone's pulling their weight and it does get competitive as well.
Oh,
you know, I mean, like even all the way through my career, the lads that I've had on, my dad, my granddad, it's always been like, I've done that seat, like I've done that room. How come you haven't finished that room? And you just got that constant like competitiveness, you know. And it does, mate. It puts something in you, and it's just that relentlessness. But if you lean into it correctly without burning yourself out, it can be a superpower.
And also, if you can take that that strength, like if you're a grafter but you're struggling with something, you know, say the bottle's got you or the bag's got you, whatever it is that you're struggling with, you're a grafter, you can graft in any way. And, you know, I'm a nightmare for a session. You can put that into, I don't know, start boxing, start running. There's so many positive ways. Start a podcast, write something. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are highs that you can get that, and you work hard. You're hard. You can't, like you said, you can't be in the trade and not work hard. You get caught out. And I think if you work on yourself, that's the thing. Like, and I think that's got like negative connotations, like working on yourself. Like, what do you mean you're reading a book? Or like, what do you mean you did whatever it is? Or what do you mean you're not coming, getting a bag? You're not. It's hard to that's the hardest bit, to say no to that. But once you start doing it and you put your work ethic into it, that's like you said, it's a weapon, man. You can use it.
I think, to be fair, mate, I mean, massive credit to you for doing what you're doing, because I think it's really impactful when you get somebody who's, for want of a better expression, one of us.
Yeah.
One a trades bloke, a tradesman, somebody from a construction background who then takes that and does something different like what you're doing, because you will reach and resonate with people, your people.
Yeah.
that hopefully you can then put that in their heads and go, well, hold on, why is Joe doing that?
Exactly.
What's the message he's trying to spread?
Yeah, man.
And just having that moment, like you said, where you had people then go back to the pub and actually talk about it.
Oh, man. That was the best thing.
Yeah.
That was the best bit for me. Like, getting lads, you know, the theatre is a very middle class play. Like, I feel uncomfortable in it still. Like, we're going watch, and the prices are unrealistic. You know, it's so hard to get people in there. But
I'll be square with you, mate. I mean, just me talking openly, like me as a, I don't think I'd feel comfortable going to. I know nothing. Have I been to the theatre? I've not been to the theatre since I was a kid.
Yeah,
you know, literally school trips.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know where to start, mate.
I
wouldn't know how to get a ticket. I wouldn't know what to wear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what was expected of me.
Exactly.
And I would assume that the people around me would be very middle and upper class.
Yeah, and judgmental of that. Yeah. And, mate, I'd be a liar if I told you that it isn't like that to an extent. Like, I feel uncomfortable as someone who has written a play, as someone that's been in... Mate, I've done plays. I've been all over the place doing, like, working. And there's still a bit of me that feels that I don't belong in a theatre.
Yeah.
I think the arts, man, they're not trying to make it any easier for us to get in there. But I think that's why my play's doing, that's why so many people are interested in it. I've had, you know, women that are always going to go to the theatre, like middle-class women with silly haircuts, like saying, I've never thought of it like that. And I'm like, yeah, of course you've not, because you're the one that's telling us to not help yourself to a brew. Do you know what I mean? You're the one that's putting, like, I think so many people are unaware of our situation.
How has it been received? Like, in terms of, is there any interest from that demographic of people that are not construction? Like, because you're taking not only are you as a tradesperson going into that world, you're taking that world in with you.
Yeah.
How's that been received?
Oh man, it's intimidating, eh? It's like bringing my boys into a theatre. Yeah. Like, I've had people, because people don't know how to act in it. There's etiquette, like, but I don't care about that. Man, the first time I did it, we were doing a bringing community into the theatre, which was near the Etihad in Manchester, and the Royal Exchange picked my play because they thought it was a good crossover. And I had men like smoking joints in slippers, like from the council estate just over the way there.
Yeah, and, I know that estate.
Yeah. And they're talking to me. I'm on stage being like, you know, they're talking about whatever I'm talking about, and they're like, oh, yeah, I know what you mean. And I'm thinking, oh, fucking hell, this is mad. But them lads, them same men at the end that had never been into a theatre in their life were on the feet at the end.
Yeah.
Saying that's it. Like, that's how I feel.
Do you know what, mate? I think so many of us, we're proud to be in the trades, and we're proud of what we do. We're proud of how we work. And when you see somebody rise up and champion it, which is what you're doing by not only breaking out of the trades into the arts, but breaking out and then going, well, yeah, I'm here, but you know what? Not only am I'm here, I'm bringing the trades with me.
Yeah,
well, it's fucking massive, mate.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Massive credit to you.
It feels sick. I got a review, and it was like, it was in Edinburgh, because I took the show to Edinburgh Fringe, and that's where I won an award for it, and I got some reviews, and it was like what I needed to get this ball rolling.
Okay.
You needed, like, you kind of gamble going to Edinburgh, because again, it's not for poor people, it's for fucking, it's 15 grand sort of thing to take a show there, like. And I couldn't understand it. So when you're in acting school, all the kids in my year are taking shows to them, and as soon as I finished for the summer holiday, I was back on a travel. So I could afford to be in acting school and enjoy it, sort of thing. So, and they're all taking shows, and then I get told, if you want a show to go anywhere, it kind of needs to be go to Edinburgh and get like a tick, which is kind of the standard of things, unless you're already known, which is like, again, it's just keeping everyone out.
Yeah.
And they said, and then everything tallied up, and that. My producer's been amazing. I can't say enough good things about him, but yeah, about 15 grand just to get yourself to a place where people are either going to tick it or say, nah, it's not for us. But yeah, I brought team of plasterers, mate. TGH Plastering, who I work for when I'm not doing this. And they were all blooded, mate. They come in, and I was just thinking, I saw them before I went on, and I was like, just chill out, lads. Yeah. And they're all like swinging. And then I finished the play, and one of them, Scab, stands up, and he's like, "Go on!" And then I thought he was giving me a standing ovation, but he needed a piss, and he just ran out. So everyone else got to the feet. So we actually started my first standing ovation, which was nice.
Love it, mate. Love it.
Yeah.
It's quality, Joe. I mean, listen, before I don't want you to forget to do it. Okay. Obviously, you tour.
Yeah.
2 questions. First question I'm going to ask you. The title of your play, Rum.
Yeah.
Why rum?
So, from where I'm from, rum means something. Like, you'd say, like,
okay,
oh, he's a bit rum. And it means basically, like, so if we're in a pub and the hard one comes in, scarred up, you'd be like, he's rum. Like, watch out, he's rum.
Okay.
But it also means, so a plastering analogy, I give it one coat, scrim's still showing through, I've not really done my angles, and someone says, are you leaving it like that? And you're like, yeah, bit rum that. So it's kind of
rough.
Like, yeah, rough is kind of, it's or like, I guess, lack of consequence. Do you know, like, there's 10 of them and they want to fight you, right? You'd be like, do you know what I mean? Or like, I just had to jump out the window, I was with this bird and her husband come back. That's like rum.
Right.
So it kind of, a bit of a wrong un, but it's also got positive, you know.
Yeah.
It, like my dad, everyone would call me dad rum when I was a kid. Everyone would call me granddad Jimmy rum. And I guess I wanted to be it.
Yeah.
When I was, you know, growing up, when I was like just teenage, with like, I remember someone first calling at me and being like,
happy with that.
All right. Yeah. And then, but it's the lack of the care sort of thing. It's like drink driving, back from the pub. That's rum. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of this word that, again, you know, people ask me about changing it, but the building trade that I work at, you know, not round you, but me specifically, Northwest, like Stockport going on.
Yeah.
Rum, everyone knows that. And it's trying to keep it for the boys that I'm writing to. Do you know what I mean?
I love that, mate.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I do as well, because now you can just imagine the fate a lot, can't you? Like now trying to steal it, like a bit wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like trying to take the word off me.
Hopefully they do, mate.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do. I mean, that would be a great, like, you know, breaking into their world, wouldn't it? But
yeah,
it's, I mean, mate, I'll massive credit to you. And I've already said this, but the more I speak to you, the more I'm like, fucking fair play, mate.
Yeah, you'll have to. I'll get your tickets, mate. Come and watch it.
100%. I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to come down our neck of the woods.
Yeah. 100%. We're at Birmingham Rep. So
talk about that, mate. Where are you? Because you're taking it on tour. Where are you going to be?
So, so we start in Stockton.
When does it start, Joe?
In very soon, mate. I'm bricking it. I'm day 2 into rehearsals now. So it starts on the 24th of April. So we're going to be at Stockton Arts Centre on the 24th to the 26th of April. Then Colchester Mercury on the 29th to the 30th of April. Then the Story House in Chester on the 25th. Then Birmingham Rep, 2 nights. You're definitely going to have to come because you can miss one night.
Get me there, mate, 100%.
27th, 28th of May. Blackpool Grand on the 3rd of June. Then Live Theatre Newcastle on the 6th and 7th of June. Theatre Royal Bath on the 10th of June. Sheffield Theatres on the 12th. Shakespeare North Playhouse on the 14th of June. And then Glastonbury Festival on the 27th and 28th. But if you go in Glastonbury, then don't worry about watching.
Make sure if you go in Glastonbury, go and check Joe
I don't even know if I'd go and watch me if I was at Glastonbury. But
mate, how cool's that, though? How cool is that?
Mad. And also, like, not what I'm after with this. You know, I'm really trying to keep it... It's weird, isn't it? Because you start... This has been like up to now, everyone's telling me like this doesn't happen very often with these sort of, you know, you might get a small tour, but we're getting real interest, and I think there's going to be another tour in autumn with Manchester and Liverpool, and maybe I reckon London as well. I'm going to say London.
Super. Where do you want to go with it, Joe? Like what? Let's go bigger than that.
Yeah.
What are you trying to achieve with it?
I want people to see us in its broadest brushstroke. I don't think we're seen. I felt invisible sometimes, brother. When you're in the building trade and you're in them big houses, like, people do not see you. They look past you, they look through you, and you're working in fancy out. And I've just felt like, and that's off me doing things on TV and then going back to it, and you're covered in plastic, covered in paint and stuff in it. And I just don't think people get that struggle. And I'd like them to. I think we've got such great storytellers. Man, I've worked with some good actors, but the best storytellers I've ever seen have been on the building site.
1,000,000%.
Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, that is why I think this podcast is doing well.
100%.
Because I've said this before, I think people in the trades are salt of the earth.
Yeah.
They're the characters, they're unique, they don't conform.
Yeah.
So they've got the stories, they've got the lives, the backgrounds and all that. And there's so much value in it.
Yeah.
There really is. But before we move on from what you just said, I want to what you said there, that we're not seen, we're invisible, made me think, On the Tools did a campaign. I don't know if you saw it, The Lost City.
No, I didn't.
No? Okay. It's still ongoing, but they did a big launch. So On the Tools have got a project called Project 7000, The Lost City. So to recap what that is, 7,000, the Project 7,000 alludes to the fact that every year 700 tradespeople lose their life to suicide.
Yeah.
So over the last decade, 7,000 tradespeople have taken their own lives. And that is a workforce big enough to build a city the size of Cardiff.
Wow.
Hence the Lost City,
Jesus.
the city that will never be built.
Yeah.
When they launched the project, they did a big, what can only be known as like a PR stunt to raise awareness of what they were doing. And I was asked to be a part of it.
Great.
Now, as it turned out, logistically, I couldn't do it because last minute they asked me to go to Cardiff instead of Birmingham. But that aside, what they did is they put out a load of road signs and I think they put out 7,000. I might be wrong. It might be 700. 7,000 sounds like a lot of hard hats.
Right.
To signify
I see.
again. But they put out these signs and they were like, work delayed due to suicide, but like construction signs. And anyway, in the planning of this, they were talking about it and how essentially it wasn't technically legal because they hadn't got permission to put these signs out, but they did it at all the major landmarks around it's like 8 cities in the UK. So they did London, Birmingham, Manchester, like, Big Ben and all that kind of stuff. The other ones out there. But they did all the big cities. And in doing so, when they were talking about planning, they basically based it on the fact that put a high vis on and nobody will see you. Because people in high vis can pretty much get away with doing anything because they're invisible. The minute you put a high vis on and you look like a builder, you're invisible.
Yeah.
And I thought, how ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
And that's exactly what happened. The high visit, and they had teams in each city go and put these things out, and it made national news.
Yeah,
it was on the news and all sorts. And they're continuing. So Project 7,000, just to mention what they're doing, they're trying to raise a whole load of money for 2 charities, Band of Builders and Construction Sport.
Right.
And the great thing about what they're doing is they're trying to raise money for things that actually take action rather than just raising awareness. They're doing stuff like trying to pay for counselling and therapy and stuff like that for people in the trade. So it's the next step after raising awareness. It's like, okay, the awareness is there now, great, what do we do?
Yeah, now can we build on it?
They're trying to address that. Great. So it's a fantastic initiative.
Yes. I will just also say that partnered with the play that I'm doing is Andy's Man Club.
Brilliant.
If you know Andy's Man Club, I've been to some of their meetings when we kind of started speaking to each other about that they wanted to be partnered with the play, they wanted to support it and stuff. I went to some of the meetings, and I can honestly say that I think if Dylan had gone to some of their meetings, that he might still be here. Yeah. It was lads just like us, tattoos, everyone, like some in the work gear. and it's such a safe space for men to speak, and they do them all over the country. And it's just a group of lads chewing the fat, just talking about struggles that they've had, and it's as simple as that, and it's so easy to go to. If you don't want to speak, you don't have to speak. You know, there's nothing making you can just sit in the background. But I just think if there's any lads that are listening to this, watching this, that are struggling with something, and it does it a couple times a week, just check Andy's Man Club out, because you know, they're onto a good thing as well, and it means a lot to me that anyone that's struggling, it's hard to speak to people close to you sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to speak to strangers.
Yeah.
And Andy's Man Club's got a safe space. There's trained people in there, so it's you know, you're not just going to be. They look after you, and yeah, I push that. I support them wholeheartedly.
It's a great charity, mate. Great. Yeah, I know a lot about them. I've never been to a meeting, but I've spoken to a lot of people that have, and I've heard it's brilliant. It's those kind of organisations that will make a difference, and that we need more of.
And if people, like in your podcast, if people come and watch, some people are just lost. If we can point them in these sort of directions, like you said, people know now what.
Yeah.
Just and you know, I'm not trying to point just at working class, but that's my class, and we're the ones that are struggling. We're not the only ones that are struggling, but I think when you're from a background that has been comfortable and safe, and you can talk to parents, and there's nothing, and we're all trying to do that. But I think if you've come from a background where it's hard to speak about something, then it might be hard for you to speak to your lad about something. And I think that is just the working class, that stiff upper lip. We get on with it. And I just think there's charities and there's ways for us now to start addressing it. And I think that if you are a new dad, or even if you're not a dad, if you're struggling yourself, there are places that you can get out now. And I think it's, you know, you've just got to help yourself a little bit and just reach out to some of these people.
Definitely, mate. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, you know, again, touching on what you're doing, it's one of the main things, I think, because of that stigma around talking and people not talking and staying quiet, is you could be in a room with 20 other blokes and 15 of them could be struggling, but you'll think you're the only one because everyone's staying quiet.
Yeah.
So by doing like what you're doing and putting it out there on stage and letting people know that there are struggles and that the working class is suffering, hopefully it waves that flag to go, do you know what? This is happening. It's all right to speak up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hope so, man. I really hope. I think the journey that the character goes on is, you know, you see him in all states. And if I'm doing it on a stage in front of a load of people, and I'm one of you boys, do you know what I mean? I'm from the same place. And if I'm doing it, you can do it to your wife, you can do it to your girlfriend, your partner, whoever it is, behind closed doors. You know, there's strength in vulnerability. That's the message I want to push.
I really believe, mate, you doing that, it will start conversations. And sometimes that's all it is. It's planting that seed that will lead to a conversation, that will lead to somebody opening up, that might actually just, it sounds dramatic, but it'll save lives. You know, talking saves lives. It 100%. Really does. I saw that firsthand when I was volunteering at Samaritans myself, just the power of a conversation and how you can take it from crisis on the edge to, you know, not making a decision that you can't come back from. And yeah, just starting them conversations, mate. It's really powerful what you're doing, mate. It really is.
Yeah.
Huge credit to you, man.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate it. Now I've just got to do it. Now I've just got to get on stage and do it now. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Come and check it out.
100%, man. So if people want any information, because I know you've put the dates and places out there, but if anyone wants, have you got a website or anything like that?
Yeah, it's on Instagram. If you're all over that.
Yeah. I can put all your details on the bottom of this.
There's Joe Mallalieu Rum, which is like their social page that you can follow everything.
Has it got its own?
Yeah, it's own kind. Yeah, we've set it. Mate, I'm absolutely
good. No, that's good.
Yeah, and pants on Instagram and stuff. But I've got a PR team, and
Wicked,
they're doing it really. They're so good at that. I can't be on my phone too long, but
you can't do everything yourself.
Exactly,
mate,
yeah. So but if you just check out, I'll give you the thing if you could stick it on your
100%.
But yeah, it's Joe Mallalieu Rum, and
check out the episode description below. The details will be there.
Yeah, perfect.
And are they going to put any clips up on that, or is that?
Yeah, we've got a few bits and bobs on there, like some of the rehearsal period. We're having photographers in. I say photographers. My girlfriend's coming in next week. we've got people coming in, and there's snippets of it, and like kind of what it's about, and yeah, just. I know theatres aren't for everyone. I know you probably feel, but this is for you lot. This is a story that's it's like running parallel to mine. But Danny didn't ever try and like get help or anything like that. So I think if you don't feel comfortable in a theatre, you'll feel comfortable watching my play. Do you know what I mean?
Love it. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the success in the world with what you're doing. Huge respect for bringing it onto the platform that you are. It will start conversations. And the other thing it will do, it will reach that demographic that isn't necessarily the trades and just raise awareness outside of the trades
100%.
of some of the battles that we're going through. So massive credit to you for that as well.
Cheers, bro.
Before we do wrap it up, Joe, because I know this man here has got, I don't know what time it is now, but it's late. And Joe has got to get back to London tonight. But before we do wrap it up, mate, is there anything that we haven't discussed that you wanted to get out there?
No, I think we've covered everything. Is there anything that I'm going to get told off for not saying? Nah, just come and check it out. Oh, I'd say thank you to Carl Morrison, Urban Bathrooms. He was the one that put me onto it. He follows this stuff, and it's shout out Carl. It's just, I don't know. I've just got massive respect for you as well, mate. Doing this, I think it's a great thing, and it's hard to get anyone from this game to talk about it.
Appreciate it, mate.
And it's kind of dog eat dog, like you were saying, and for someone to kind of take the lead, it takes and it's dedication and it's time, and it's good that there's other people that are trying to do it. So good for you, man.
Yeah, that's it, mate. We're all just doing our bit, aren't we?
Yeah,
exactly. And if more people like you and me and whatever, Christ, you don't have to go and start a podcast, but just have them conversations. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, just respect that if people don't want to have a drink, or if someone's struggling with maybe there's reasons for stuff. Do you know what I mean? Try and wear people's shoes. Like, everyone's going through something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think with the acting stuff, that was the getting to play other people. Just play someone else for a minute when someone's been a muppet to you, or someone's been dead short with you, or you nearly whack someone. Just remember that you don't know what everyone's going through.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point to make. Joe, been a massive pleasure,
nice
man.
One, I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
No, honestly, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Check out the episode description below. All of Joe's details for the play and everything will be there. Please go and check out the play. I will be watching in Birmingham. Yeah. I've no idea what day that falls on, Joe, but we will get it in the diary.
Yeah.
Before we do wrap up, just a big thank you to our guest merchandise sponsors, the Funky Peach, for giving out the merchandise, which I will bestow upon Joe shortly. Big shout out to Steve as well over at Uncle Matt's Hats for the hats that are being donated to our guests. And I will catch you soon on the next one.